Hey, here we are, live again. It is Monday morning mommy me time. And I've got this fun topic for us today. I'm just going to get set up here while I wait for some people to join. And let's see if we got anybody. Nope, not yet. So, yay, someone's here. Hi, whoever is with me. All right, if I've got one person, I'm going to start. If you want to say hi, I would love to know that you're here for sure. I'm trying to make it so I can see comments and you and me. More people. Hello, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Let me know if you're here. You can leave a comment or you can do like a little thumbs up. We're going to just talk about permissive parenting today. It's going to be a really relaxed conversation, not so structured. I have some notes, so I want to share some stories. So it is Monday morning mommy me time, which of course is not only just for moms, but also for all of us because we all have an inner child and we get to take care of our inner child. And that's a really big part of self-love, which of course is what this whole group is about, right? I see that there's 2 people with me, but I haven't seen anybody say hi yet. So if you're there, just click the little like button so I can see you and say hi. So let's talk about, there's a person, thank you. So let's talk about reparenting ourselves. Let's talk about permissive parenting. Next week, I'm gonna do autocratic and controlling smother mother kind of parenting, but this week we're gonna talk about like really loose boundary mom and not having a lot of limits. And what does that look like for our inner child? What does it look like for our children? And what does it look like for us as grown-up adults, having this internal dialogue going where, there wasn't a whole lot of somebody being in charge or telling you what to do. So for some of us, we had this parent who just sort of didn't show up and we were able to do pretty much anything we wanted. And for others of us, we had really, really controlling parents who told us what to do all of the time. I luckily had both in one mom, so that was fun. Some days she was really strict and other days she just wasn't available at all. So that was confusing. Hi, I got another person. Welcome. I can't tell if you guys are here or not until you comment or like, hi, okay, I got another person. Okay, good. So we got a whole bunch of people joining us today. So I'm assuming you guys got some notifications. So let's talk about permissiveness. So it's the opposite end. So I'm not talking about like, hey, let's give our kids freedom. Not that kind of parent. Like, I think it's actually really important to give your kids freedom. I'm talking about the parent who's like, it's all freedom, there really isn't any parenting. So at one end of the spectrum, it's like Nazi, like super, I don't mean to offend anybody with that. I'm German, so no offense, but like that super strict, regimented, rule following. And then on the other side, we've got this very permissive, I can do whatever the heck I want. So we're going to talk about that end of the spectrum today. So sometimes what happens is parents just are too exhausted or they're overwhelmed. I can think of some people where it's just too many kids and it's too much to do and you're trying to work and it's just like, I don't care if you have that toy or you have that cookie or you share. I just don't care. I'm overwhelmed. And so that's kind of what we're talking about when we're talking about permissive parenting. It's that parenting where, and you probably relate to it as a kid, your parent probably did it, or you relate to it as a mom where you're just so overwhelmed and you got so many things going on that you can't even possibly think of parenting in that moment. So here's what happens in the moment. So I want you to think about when it happened for you, when you were a little kid and you went to your parent or you were looking for some kind of discipline or some kind of advice and your parent just says, I don't care, do whatever you want. Did anybody have that happen? Like if that was you, like raise your hand or give me a little like. And hi, Reagan. Reagan's here, and my comments are working today, so that's great. So if that was you and your parents were too permissive, and you know, give me a little, that was me, I can totally relate to this. Okay, we got some people who are relating. Okay, so let's look at how this plays out in personality development and also the long-term consequences. Okay, I think I already said that. So let's see. Oh, just so you guys know, I'm only going to be doing me time Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week, and then I'll probably only do it, I might do it every day next week, but I think that that's going to be the end of me time. So get your me time in, watch the videos, and I think I'm going to be switching the content just a little bit, but I'm not sure exactly where I'm going yet, so don't get too excited. But I'll be doing some kind of live videos. I'm thinking of doing a challenge. Would you guys like to do a challenge? If you would like to do one, if you'd like to like post every day in the group or be held accountable for something, whether it's with your relationship or your parenting or self-love or self-care, I thought it might be fun if we did that together as a group. So if you guys are I think that's a good idea, give me some thumbs up or put in the comments what you would like to see. So let's get into permissive parenting and how it affects the child's, you like homework? Okay, how it affects the child's self-esteem or your self-esteem if your parent was permissive, and the long-term effects. Okay, and don't forget to share this with people that you know. Like there's a little button there that says invite friends. So invite your friends in if you know that they're gonna like this topic. So, and if you have any questions, pop them in the comment box because that is working today. And here we go. So imagine this scenario as a kid. You go out with your friends, but you know that your friends are maybe the wrong crowd, and they're going to be doing things that you know aren't appropriate, and you're probably going to get in trouble. And you go and ask your parent if you should go and do it or not, and they either ignore you, they aren't there to ask, or they say, sure, do whatever you want. How does that make you feel? So you guys go ahead, and there's a bunch of you with me today, so if you want to share that, I want to know, how does that make you feel when you go to a parent looking for advice and they're just like, yeah, sure, whatever you want, or maybe they're not even available. How did that leave you feeling? So go ahead and type that in the comments. There's this cool research actually that I read about good morning, parents who took their kids to a playground, and the research was done with the same parents, the same kids, the same playground. And the first time they took them, there was no fence around the playground. It was just an open field, open playground. The kids could do whatever they wanted. And the parents said, sure, go do whatever you want. And good morning. And when the kids were given all of that freedom to do whatever they want, it was really interesting because the kids actually stayed really close to the parents and really close to the playground equipment. They didn't go exploring. So they took the same kids, the same parents, and then they put a fence around the park. And the next time the kids went exploring all the way out to the fence. So it's interesting how when we don't have boundaries, we don't feel safe. And so we actually stay closer to our parents, and we don't make decisions, and we don't move out. So when you don't have someone's guidance, and you don't have rules, and you don't have boundaries, and you aren't being held accountable, you actually are scared to move. You're actually scared to go out and explore. So how does this develop the personality? So what happens is the personality learns life is scary and I don't want to go explore. I need to stay close to, you know, the person in charge because I haven't been given any guidance, and I'm not sure that if I make this move, if it's going to be a good move or a bad move for me. So there's one piece of how permissive parenting doesn't work very well. So this is funny. So the other day I pick up my son, and I told you guys a couple of weeks ago, Gabriel got in some really good trouble. And so part of our agreement for his consequence was that he was gonna like have more quality family time. And also he lost all of his electronics, which he spends a lot of time on. So his personality just started changing in the last couple of weeks just because he's just been so much more present with us. So I was being super, super sweet to him, and Jack was paying attention. And Jack goes, Mommy, I like it better when you're your mean self. And I said, what are you talking about, Jack? And he goes, you need to be your mean self. Go back to being your mean self. And I go, what are you I go, like the mean, like, he goes, not the mean from like many, many years ago mean, because actually before I took the parenting class that I'm like teaching you guys some of that stuff from that parenting class now. Before I took that, I was like really mean, like overbearing, super controlling, like horror mother. And they remember it. And so then I learned how to be loving and kind, how to be loving and firm at the same time. So how do you have, how do you be this loving parent, which is sometimes when you go too far this way, it's like very permissive. And how do you also be kind and firm without going too far this way and being overbearing and controlling? And so it's like, how do you learn to walk that middle path, right? And that's what we're talking about today, is not being way down on this side. So he said, not your mean self like from 5 years ago, but your mean self from like the last time I saw you. Because I share the kids with Garrett, so sometimes I don't get them for a couple of days. And I go, what do you mean? I'm just talking really nice to Gabriel. And he's like, yeah, I need you to be your mean self. And it was funny because then I said, well, Jack, when we get home, you're going to take out the trash, which is his regular chore in the house. And he's like, Mom, that's not what I mean. I'm like, you're taking out the trash. And I started being like really mean. And then they just laughed. They thought it was funny. But the point of the story is, like, my son even knows that he doesn't want me to be permissive. He knows that he wants to have rules and limits and boundaries. And my kids are at the point now where when they get in trouble, they come to me, they take response. Like yesterday, Jack forgot his book bag. And I said, Jack, it's really inconvenient for me to come and bring you your book bag. What happened? And he tells me the whole story, and he took accountability. He's 10, took accountability for it. He's like, well, I apologize. It is my fault. I'm the one who left my book bag in your car. Do you think you could just help me out this one time? And I said, I can help you out this one time because I happen to be very close to your house and I'm already in the car. And I said, but I don't want to do this again. And I said, and I don't think you have a very good routine for your book bag. So what are we going to do? And he says, okay, I have an idea. Let's try this. And I go, well, we could try. He goes, how about when you buy me a phone for my birthday, which is like a month and a half, then I'll set an alarm on my phone to not forget my book bag. And I go, that's a really good idea, but you don't have a phone yet. He goes, what if I set the alarm on your phone? And I go, well, sometimes you're with me and sometimes you're with Daddy, and this blah, 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 whatever. You guys don't need to know the whole story. But basically he came to the agreement, that it's because I said, really, Jack, the deal is we get to have you learn a new habit for how to be responsible. So when you have permissive parenting, you're being super, super loving, but you aren't saying, this is what my kid needs to learn. And he has to have these habits to form this behavioral lifestyle, which is also going to determine his confidence and his self-esteem, right? If you're not doing this part and you're just doing the loving part, the kid is going to end up not having self-esteem and not feeling loved or taken care of. When you say, oh, I don't care, it's okay, I don't care, and what you really mean is, it makes no difference to me one way or the other. What your kid hears, or what you heard as a kid if your parents said, I don't care, is, I don't care about you and you don't matter. So even though we think that we're being loving by giving them choice and freedom, it really isn't loving when they're asking us for our advice, asking for opinions. Children actually feel safer with limits and boundaries. And when the way that this comes back to self-love is, if you can't say no to a box of cookies or a container of brownies, what makes you think you can say no to your child eating a box of cookies or a container of brownies? Yeah, right. So, okay. So, and then I wanted to talk about the energy of that, right? So let's say I have really bad, self-control or self-discipline, and I'm not good at not eating a whole container of brownies, which is not true. There's actually brownies still left, but I like to joke around and say that I ate them all. I did eat some of them, but I didn't eat them all. But let's say you don't have any self-control because your parents didn't have boundaries with you, and or you haven't reparented your inner child to have boundaries and hold yourself accountable, right? Because Because even if your parents screwed it up, you can still fix it, which is what's really cool about all of this. And I know that from personal experience, and my mother, who probably is watching this, would also admit that she's screwed up a few times and that it's cool that you can reprogram this stuff. And we talk about her parents screwed up and probably their parents screwed up. And I mean, one of my really good friends says it's your God-given right as a parent to screw up, right? So it's okay if we screw up. The thing that's the most important is still having a relationship with our kids. The relationship's the most important piece. And when we're looking at inner child work, the relationship that I have with my inner child is the most important piece. So with that being said, kids can feel our energy. They can feel our emotional energy. So if you're full of shame about eating a batch of cookies, it doesn't matter if your kids saw you eat the cookies or not. They know that you're loose. You have loose limits around cookies. Okay, does that make sense? Like, I remember this a long time ago. I can't remember the details, but I remember when I was getting divorced and my ex-husband had done something that really, really bothered me. And I remember one of my kids started asking me all these questions about him. And it was like, I was like thinking like, why are you asking so many questions? Like he could feel that I was upset and he wanted to know what was going on. Like you can't hide from your kids. And you probably knew this when you were a kid too, looking at your parents. It's like, I know that they're upset and you wonder if it has something to do with you. So when I as a parent, even to my inner child or when my mom was upset, I could feel it, and sometimes the child takes that on as if it's their burden. That's just what kids do. They're trying to make their parents happy so that they belong. The trouble, like, let's talk about long-term consequences now, right? So the long-term consequences of this is if I am trying to make my mom happy, then I end up losing myself. And if I'm trying to mind read or I'm trying to guess what she thinks, or if she's saying, I don't care, do whatever you want, I'm over here feeling like I don't matter. She doesn't care about me. That's what I turn it into as a kid. And the long-term consequences of that are, like for me, that's a true, all of this that I'm telling you is true. And for me, what it looks like in relationship with my intimate partner is, when my intimate partner is like, I'm upset, blah, 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 I immediately go to, I fucked it up. I got it wrong. It's all my fault because I'm not good enough. Which is, none of that is true, and he's great because he's like, yeah, no, I was talking about my feelings and that has nothing to do with you. You can't fix my feelings, But when we learn, especially as children, as codependent children, we learn to take care of our parents' needs. It's really hard to let go of taking care of other people's needs. So if your parent was permissive with you and just kind of let you do whatever you wanted to do and didn't guide you and give you a whole lot of directives, and you probably ended up kind of scared about making your own decisions. Because think about it, if your parent is like so overwhelmed and exhausted that they can't make the decision, like how are you supposed to make the decision if you're like 4 years old or 8 years old, or like they're an adult and they can't figure it out and then they expect you to do that? So let's see, I have another little thing here that I wanted to tell you about. Okay, so this is for, like, some people actually feel like, you know what, I don't care about my kids. They're going to figure it out on their own. And I want to give them freedom to figure it out. Okay. Freedom is a basic human need. So that's super, super important. But when you say things like, I don't care what you do, you're sending the message to the kid that they don't matter and that you don't care about them. So let's change the language to, I care very much about you, and it makes no difference to me one way or the other which one you do. And let's even take it to the next level and say, what are you thinking about doing? And give them a voice and, spend time listening to them. And it doesn't usually take a lot of time. Kids are pretty quick. So let's just do that. Let's spend time with them. Do you guys have any questions? Nobody's really said anything. I've been doing a lot of the talking because I have a lot to share. Do you guys have questions? Are you guys relating to this? I mean, I have people that are watching. I would love to hear what's coming up for you guys. Do you guys experience, if you had permissive parents or you had times that, yes, Dagmar's understanding. So if you had times that your parents were permissive with you and you felt that sense of insecurity, how is that playing out for you now in your adult life? Thank you, Dagmar. How is that playing out for you in your adult life now? So, this is important work. This is the self-love work that I do with clients. We're going to go back and we're going to look at, what were those defining moments, like when your parent was too permissive? And what are the beliefs that you made up in those moments about who you are? Like, like I was saying, the codependency, right, exactly. That's what I was talking about for me, right? I learned how to be codependent. I literally this morning, so you guys, I don't teach anything that I'm not actively working on. So yesterday and this morning, I did some hypnosis on myself. I was working with my inner child, and I was 2 years old. I was so little, I still had a lisp. I was like, Mommy and Daddy just want me to be perfect, and I just have to be a good girl. And I could literally remember, I have to ask my mom if this is true or not, but I literally remember her reaching into the crib and picking me up and being like, how's my good girl? You're such a good girl. And just remembering, I remember being so tiny and looking up at them and my grandfather and my grandmother and my mother and my father, my aunt, my uncle, and looking up at them and thinking, it's my job to do what they need me to do so that they can be happy. And I took that on myself, right? And so we get to, I did some reprogramming. I actually brought Jesus in because he's my pal, he's my buddy. And I actually just laid my little 2-year-old self in Jesus's lap. And of course, Jesus doesn't have to say anything because Jesus is amazing. And I just felt all of this warm power from the inside out about just really how magnificent and radiant and incredible I am, even at 2 years old. And that who I was put here to be isn't somebody for somebody else. It's just for me to be an expression of myself and my higher self, my connection to the divine. And I don't need to be anybody. Hi! I don't know how to say your name. I'm gonna guess. Vishal? Did I get it right? Thank you for joining us. So Dagmar says, having relationships where I want to be loved, but I don't love myself. Yeah. Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm talking about with this, little reprogramming that I did this morning with my little 2-year-old. She just needed to know. And it was so cool. What was the coolest part about it was, I get this sensation in my body every time I'm in alignment with my higher self, which is something that I teach my clients how to do also. And, so then, Jesus was like, okay, you got this, and he's like, I'll always be with you, but I don't need to be here cuddling you anymore. And I just stood back there in the little living room where I was having the memory. And I thought to myself, okay, I need to make them happy. And then, I didn't get that feeling in my body. And then I thought, okay, I just need to be me. And this buzzing feeling went off inside of me. And it felt so amazing to know that I'm enough just as a little person. And I'm not doing anything wrong, and I don't need to be anybody for anybody else. And then what was cool was this morning, interacting with Mike, my boyfriend, and I actually interacted with my ex-husband this morning too, talking about the kids and scheduling and all of that. And it was really cool to check in with that inner knowing and go this is just me being me. I don't need to be somebody for somebody else. I get to just be this me. It was cool. I don't even know how to explain it, but that's kind of a little tangent. So are you guys getting what I'm saying? Is it making sense, the permissive parenting? And next week we'll get into autocratic parenting and controlling parenting. That's a whole other ball of wax. So is everybody clear on permissive parenting? Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody think that maybe they might be too permissive, either with themselves and their own inner child, or you're being too permissive with your actual children, or maybe you're a teacher and you have children that you watch? Is anybody feeling like they're too permissive and they need to learn how to add some of the boundaries and limits in and still keep all of that love? Does anybody struggle with that? Or you know what I totally missed in the conversation? Does anybody feel like conflict is just too hard to do? Like that's definitely part of permissive parenting too. It's like, I don't want to have to be the bad guy. Like I want to be friends with my kid. I don't want to be this overbearing parent. And a lot of times that comes from parents who are overbearing, and we don't want to be like them. You know, God forbid that we're like our parents if they were anyway we didn't like. A lot of times we try to do the opposite, which actually doesn't work either. We want to, and I wouldn't even say we want to come to the middle, because a lot of times permissive parenting and saying I don't care, or not knowing what to do, or whatever that last thing was that I was talking about, that's all coming from shame and not feeling good enough. And then the control, actually the overbearing, which I'm going to get into next week, is also operating out of shame. And it's like, I need my daughter to look good for me. And coming into the middle and having limits and boundaries and love has nothing to do with shame. And so the trouble is, a lot of times if our parents were too permissive, then we try to be too controlling, or they were too controlling and then we become too permissive, is we're still operating out of that same shame story. And we're not operating out of that love and integrity and vision. So that's what we want to move into, the love and integrity and vision. So hi to everyone. All right, I have a bunch of people with me. So if anybody else wants to say hi, or if anybody else has questions, thanks for joining me this morning. Is everybody good? If everybody's good, you can say yes in the comment box. And if anybody is feeling like they want more information on this, you know, please feel free to reach out to me personally. You can message me. You can call me. I have a little scheduler. You can set up an appointment with me. Yeah. All right, cool. So thank you guys for taking a little bit of time out of your schedule today to hang out with me for me time, because it's always good for you to get a little you time, for me to get a little me time, and to learn something new, especially on a topic that is hopefully relevant for you. That's why I've been trying to kind of tell you what the topics are at the beginning of the day, so you can jump on and see the ones that are really relevant for you. And, you know, thank yourself for taking a minute out of your day to do something to support you and to learn something. If you're loving all this content, I have a lot more. And it's all part of my coaching program. When you work one-on-one with me, you get this kind of stuff, but we work one-on-one and we talk about how does this apply to you personally, what you're doing in your life personally. And obviously we do the reprogramming with your inner child one-on-one personally, which is really cool, because the breakthroughs that happen are, I mean, it's just phenomenal and excellent and amazing. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for hanging out. If this is information, like as you're listening to this, you're like, oh man, my friend Susie would really, really like this information, you know, go ahead and share it with Susie. Invite her into the group, tell her what we have going on in here, and you know, let's get the message spread. I'm gonna do it 3 days this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then next week, and then that's gonna be the end of me time for a little while. I think I'm going to start moving into talking about intimacy and vulnerability much more in depth, but I'm not sure yet. I'm waiting for God to lead me. You guys have not been telling me what you want, so I have to just guess. If you know what you want, which is also part of what I help my individual clients learn, put it in the comment box. And if you're going, I don't know what I want, then call me, because you get to work with me so you can know what you want. Okay? Because it's not cool to live a life of indecision and not knowing what you want. Like, I know that it's not, because I've been working with somebody like that. You know, it's really cool. Okay, one more quick story. And if you got to go, you can bye, but I got one more quick story. So I've been working with this really incredible woman who, when she started working with me, it was all about, you know, oh, my parents didn't love me, and like her inner child was just so wounded, and she didn't want to do any intimacy and intimacy and vulnerability was like, no, I'm not doing that. And even just like looking at herself was kind of terrifying. And it was really, really cool. I got to spend some time with her and some family members, and I got to witness the shift that's happened in her since, since the beginning of our coaching program, and then what it was like to kind of compare her with the rest of her family members, which is where she was when we started. And it was that we had this moment where we did like a little bit of family work, and we had this moment where she was so vulnerable. I cried. I was so proud. She was so vulnerable with one of her siblings and sharing, and was such an offering. And then her sibling reacts like, with all the defensiveness and stuff that she used to do and I used to do, and a lot of us do, because we haven't learned how to love ourselves enough to actually hear. So it was so cool was when the sibling was like, and like took all of that and threw it right back at her. She took it in, and then she was like, okay, yeah, you're right. And she was able to, it was so cool. Like, she was able to offer, to be an offering in this place of vulnerability, to offer to her sibling what her sibling was asked. Her sibling said, can somebody please tell me? And she said, I'll tell you. And she said, blah, blah, blah. And she told her. And then the sibling couldn't take it yet and threw it back at her. Well, you do this and you do that. And she actually was able to take in what her sibling was offering her and use it to her advantage and to strengthen the relationship. And I was so excited. So that's totally not part of this talk. It was totally a tangent, but I wanted to share it with you guys because it was a really cool personal experience. And it's just so fun to see. I mean, I got chills right now thinking about it. It's just so fun to see. I'm going to cry too. People go from, I know what it's like personally. I remember, I had this conversation with I'm on another tangent. If you guys want to stick around, you can. But I had this conversation with my ex-husband this morning, and he goes, I'm not going to say that to you, blah, 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 whatever. And I go, you can't, he goes, are we good? And I said, no, we're not good. You can't say to me that you've got something to say and then not say it. I'm not good. And then I gave him the space to say it, and he said it. And then he was like, well, I don't like it. I don't like this. I don't like feeling like this, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, I do like this. I like that we have an opportunity now that you can share with me and you can tell me how you're feeling. I go, do you like this? Does this feel better than holding all of that anger and resentment? And I didn't say it so condescending like that. I was like, I like this. Do you like this? And he's like, yeah, I like this. So it's really, really cool when you start using the tools. It's really, really cool what you can create, even with ex-husbands and, your mother and all kinds of different places. When you learn how to be an offering for others and you learn how to be a safe space for others to share what they need to share with you. So that has nothing to do with permissive parenting. It's just, I got on a tangent. So I don't know. I hope you guys like that tangent. And, you guys just hang out with me. I love it. Like, I wish there was more interaction. I wish I could talk with you more. Put something in the comments, like say something. I want to interact with you. If you guys are here, like, let's talk. This isn't just Heather talks all day. What do you guys want to know? Come on. Somebody say something. Is anybody else drinking tea this morning? You guys are shy, or maybe you're doing something else. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope you guys learned some really cool stuff today. And feel free at any time to just pop into the Beautifully Authentic Facebook group and share what's going on for you. Share what your struggles are. Ask for advice. I'm happy to offer whatever I have, and there's other people in the group who are happy to support you and offer. There's a lot of my past clients in the group, so they have a lot of really, really amazing insight and different stories that they can share with you. I want it to be a place that's safe. If anybody is ever like a big jerk or judgmental or whatever, I'll have a conversation with them, and if they can't control themselves, we'll boot them out. So I want it to be a really safe environment. So please feel free to share and learn and grow and expand, because that's what we're here for. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I don't remember what tomorrow's talk is. Dagmar, are you still here with me? I wonder if Dagmar knows what tomorrow's talk is. Something sexy. Oh, Lisa, hi! Giving too much freedom is not good. I've seen both extremes. I'm experiencing great challenges with my teen daughter because I gave her too much freedom, because I had no freedom whatsoever as a child. Yes, thank you, Lisa, for sharing. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly. And so, right, we try to do the opposite, right? But we're still operating out of shame, and then it doesn't work because you're not in the middle with the the limits and the boundaries and the love, like all in the middle there without the shame, right? Without saying, you need to be who I need you to be, or, you need to be well behaved, or, I throw my hands up, I just can't do this, or, you know what, you have freedom, go for it, have fun, try to figure it out on your own, because that doesn't work either. So Lisa, I appreciate you so much for sharing. Thank you. And anybody else who wants to throw anything in there, it takes like 30 seconds for the comments to show up. So I'll just wait another couple of seconds. I'm still drinking that pumpkin tea from Trader Joe's. Did anybody get to try it? Oh, how to get sex from your spouse right now. Get your heart on. Your heart, get your heart. Get your heart on. I had that's my topic tomorrow. Yeah. So, this is so great. Okay, one more quick story. So I'm going to tell the story again tomorrow, but for those of you who are here today, it's so exciting. I worked with this couple. Last week. I love you too, Lisa, who, it was bad. Imagine as bad as it can get. Like, it was bad, like he calls and he's like, and like they're not even talking, and like the first time that they talk is on my couch. Like it was bad. And what was so cool was I got them so reconnected that at the end he's giving her a hug and he looks at me and he's like, I'm feeling a little aroused. And I said, get your heart on, because that's what happens when you get connected with your partner, your body responds. And like, that's the whole point, people. It's not about like, hey, that guy's got a nice set of six-pack or whatever it is that people are looking at. Like, hey, she's got some nice round hips and whatever, objectifying people's bodies, and then we can't even have orgasms because we don't feel safe and like all this crazy stuff. We're going to talk about all that tomorrow. But when you're connected, that's when you get your heart on. It's awesome. All right, guys, I love you. And yeah, we're going to talk about getting your heart on tomorrow and getting super connected and how to get sex right now, because it's pretty cool. I can't wait to teach you. I want to teach you now, but it's for tomorrow. So you'll have to come join me tomorrow. Thanks, Dagmar. Now I'm excited. Can you guys tell I like that subject? All right, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.